Hey guys, so today I'm going to talk to you guys about foundations and primers that I have used throughout many years for oily skin. I decided to do this video because a lot of people out there only have like dry or combination to dry skin. There's not a lot of people out there that have oily skin, and a lot of people just don't like to talk about it. Sorry if my glasses are super glary. I'm gonna just wear them in this video because I'm just talking about products. Later on in the tutorial, you'll see demos on how I put on the powders, the primers, and a couple of the foundations that I like. So I hope you enjoy the video. So this is the Kat Von D Lock It Tattoo Foundation. I'm in the medium 58. This foundation is hands down for me the best foundation for oily skin. The reason being is because it's just really thick. I like thicker consistencies than some other foundations that I'll show you in a little bit. This foundation is thick, covers everything, covers like every single pimple I have, any blemish I have, any acne scars that I have. So this is like a great foundation for it. If you like lighter foundations, like not full coverage, this is not the foundation for you. This is so full coverage, it's ridiculous. I would only use this with a beauty blender, not even with a brush, because that's how heavy it is. So that's my first foundation that I love. Second foundation that I'll be talking about with you guys today is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Full Coverage Foundation. And it's 12-hour makeup, oil-free makeup. This again is just as much as this. It's a thick consistency. It's like super thick. Again, I would never use this with with brushes. I would only use it with a beauty blender or a sponge. When I first started out doing makeup, I started out with this and I was using brushes, and it sucked because I'm like, why is it so cakey? Use a sponge. It will make it less cakey and you will enjoy it. Again, if you're dry, you'll hate this because it's super thick and really matte. So let's move on to another foundation that I have. This is L'Oreal Paris 24-Hour Foundation. It's the Infallible Pro Matte. The back says the finish is demi matte. We're up to 24 hours. Coverage is a medium coverage and texture is air light. It's also says oil control. This is a beautiful foundation. Like, this is one of my favorites. This foundation looks like skin on me, but covers almost just as much as my Kat Von D one does. This color's not my color. I have to mix it in with a different foundation to make my color. That's why I don't wear it by itself. But once I find my perfect shade, I will wear this by itself. It's like natural, but matte, but covers everything, but isn't super cakey. Because the Kat Von D can get cakey faster than any foundation because it's so thick. This is not as thick as that. This is more of a like natural matte, you could say, but it's not too cakey, it's not too heavy. It just has a perfect coverage, and it just lays perfectly on your skin. So another foundation that I would recommend to tone down some of these thicker foundations, like this one and this one, is the Nars All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation. I would not recommend this foundation by itself. Only if you're oil-based, or only if you're like, not oil-based, what I mean, like only if you like light coverage, what I should say more. If you like light coverage, don't like thick consistencies, hate cakey makeup, this is the foundation for you. I made the mistake by buying this. I use it because I spent like $50 on this, and I'm in Valerius medium 1.5. The other ones, the L'Oreal, I'm a 106, and the Amazonian Clay one, the Tarte one, I'm a medium honey. this foundation is such a water-based foundation, it's ridiculous. Like, I hate this foundation by itself. The only way I'll wear this foundation by itself is if I'm going to a job interview or an interview for like school or something. Anything professional, I'll wear this because it's not too heavy, it doesn't cake up, and it's not a full coverage. Even if you build it, I feel like there's no way you can get full coverage with this foundation because it's such a water-based foundation. So I mix it into my thicker foundations to make it like weightless pretty much and not so thick. Even though it doesn't help, it still tones down some of the foundations I do have. I've noticed that, but some people have never really cared about that. So yeah, I love this to tone down. All right, my next foundation's from the drugstore because most of those are, 3 out of the 4 are from high end and 1's from the drugstore. And this one is also from the drugstore, and this is the Milani Conceal Plus Perfect 2-in-1 Foundation Plus Concealer, and I have 05 and 04. The back says that these are medium to full coverage, lightweight, oil-free formula, long-wearing, water-resistant, and sweat-proof. I love this foundation because it's pretty much a foundation and concealer one, just like it says. It covers everything. It's like my Kat Von D one, but natural again. It has such a beautiful coverage, but if you don't set this, it can get crazy. This can get a little cakey, a little too cakey, a little. Even though I recommend it for oily skin, if you don't set this, you can get even oilier with this. And a lot of people some people tend to set their foundations, other people don't. It's really your preference. With this foundation, I recommend setting it because if you don't, you will become oilier than you already are. And I know you're like, why would you recommend it then for oily skin? Because if you set this will stay matte all day long. With the powders that I will talk about, this is like the most beautiful foundation ever. So for primers, let's move on to primers. This is a Smashbox Photo Finish Primer in the Pore Minimizing. If you know, I use this primer pretty much every single tutorial. I love this primer. It does wonders. It blurs everything out, my pores, anything, and it keeps me matte all day long. I love this primer so much, and it's been my holy grail for a very long time, probably a year now since I bought it, and I enjoy it a lot. The next primer we're going to talk about is the Porefessional by Benefit. Sorry I don't have an actual bottle. I only have samples right now because I just need to go buy one. But this does pretty much the same thing this does, except this one's more mattifying, I think, in my opinion. Even though this is my Smashbox one is my holy grail, I would definitely run to this more often if I had the bottle. I just haven't gone to go buy it. This does pretty much the same thing, keeps you matte all day, and it fills in your pores. Another primer is the Porefessional Matte Rescue. This is more like of a gel consistency. This can really go under all your makeup and it'll make you really mattifying. This is a hit and miss with people. Some people love it, some people hate it. They prefer the Porefessional this way instead of this way, since this one is more of a like silicone-y kind of texture. I'm not sure if it has silicone in it, but this one's more of a silicone-y texture like the Smashbox one, and this is a gel. So it's really up to you what you really prefer. If you like a primer like this, gel kind, or a more silicone-y kind. So let's talk about the two powders that I believe in so much to keep my face matte all day long. And it's the Laura Mercier translucent powder, loose setting powder, and translucent, sorry. This stuff sucks up oil like crazy. I do not recommend using this powder if you're dry. You will hate it. It sucks up every single oil you have in your face. Like, it's crazy. I only use this on my T-zone area because I use a different powder to set up the rest of my face. I can't set under my eyes with this because my under eyes are dry. So I have to set with, I use the contour kit by Anastasia Beverly Hills. But I only put this in my T-zone because that's where it gets most oily. Also on my nose because my glasses are pretty much there. My other powder that I love so much, and I just bought it, is the Rimmel Blended Stay Matte Long Lasting Pressed Powder in Translucent. Up to 5 hours natural shine control with natural minerals helps minimize the appearances of pores. It's exactly what it says. It does everything perfectly. It's like an amazing powder. I set the rest of my face with this, but I used a lot of it. But even though I do use a lot, it might become cake face, but I just spray my face with like a setting powder or some kind of spray and it tones that down. I enjoy this I enjoy this powder so much because it does wonders. Yeah. So, does wonders. Now, in the rest of the tutorial, I will be doing a demo on how I would keep my face matte and how to use some of these. I think I'm going to use the Milani Conceal Plus Perfect foundations as my foundations, and I'm going to use the Laura Mercier Instant Matte Powder and the Smashbox primer for my face. If you guys want a demo review of anything else, other foundations I used, I will probably be using them in other videos so you can see how beautiful they are in other videos, but in this video I'm going to just do those 5 products for now. So I hope you guys enjoyed the talk through of that portion. I'm going to do now the demo part of it all.
Alright, in this segment I will be applying my foundation. I already applied my Smashbox Primer, just that my camera didn't record it. I am applying this Milani Foundation with a sponge instead of a brush. The reason I'm using a sponge is because it's a thicker consistency, and when I have foundations that are thicker consistencies, I always use a sponge or a beauty blender. I would not recommend using a brush because it will cake up really, really fast. I am putting a lot of foundation under my eyes because I will not be putting on concealer, bronzer, or any of that stuff. I'm just putting the foundation on. Even though my neck does not match my face right now, like my foundation, it's just because it's red. I don't know, I've been red lately. But let's just ignore that and just move on. Next, I'm going to take the Laura Mercier translucent powder and I'm going to set the center of my face with this. The reason I set the center of my face with Laura Mercier is because, as you heard in the talk through, it sucks up my oils so good. I would let it bake for a long time, but for the sake of the video, we're just not going to let that happen. I bake my nails the longest because that's where my glasses go and that's where I get the oiliest, I guess. So now I'm taking the Stay Matte powder and I'm setting the rest of my face. If you touch your face and it's still a little bit sticky, you can get a bigger brush and just brush on this powder. This powder is so good to suck up all the oil out of your face. It will stay matte all day long. Where I live, it's 107, so it's pretty hot. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!